All right, ready to dive in? Today, we're tackling Stoicism.
Ooh, Stoicism.
Yeah, Stoicism. And, it might sound like ancient philosophy, really, but stick with us because this isn't just some dusty history lesson.
No, not at all.
We're going to uncover how these ideas developed over 2,000 years ago, can actually be helpful. Helpful in navigating the chaos
Yeah,
of
yeah.
our modern lives.
What's so fascinating is that Stoicism really offers this framework for approaching challenges,
Hmm.
whether it's, dealing with a stressful job, social media overload,
Right.
or even just like the daily
The
grind.
daily grind, yeah. Okay, I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
But before we get into all that, let's
Yeah.
start with the basics.
Okay.
What is Stoicism? I mean, I've heard the word, but
Imagine a philosophy that encourages you to embrace discomfort, envision the worst case scenarios,
okay.
and even contemplate your own mortality.
Whoa, sounds a bit intense.
Yeah, a little bit. But I'm guessing there's more to it
Oh,
than
absolutely.
meets the eye. Absolutely.
Um,
Stoicism at its core
Yeah.
is about using reason and virtue
Hmm.
to navigate a world
Right.
that often feels anything but reasonable.
Right.
And it originated in Athens in the 3rd century BCE,
Oh.
founded by a fellow named Zeno of Citium.
So Zeno, ancient Athens.
Yeah.
Where did he teach this radical philosophy?
So picture this. Zeno, teaching in a public marketplace.
Okay.
His followers gathering around him
Yeah.
on the stoa, a covered porch.
Uh-huh.
That's actually where the name Stoicism comes from.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So from the porch.
Yeah, these porch philosophers
I like that.
believed that virtue was the key to a good life,
Hmm.
not external things like wealth or fame.
So not about chasing the latest iPhone or racking up Instagram followers.
Not quite.
Okay.
The Stoics identified 4 core virtues: wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance.
Yeah.
They believed that embodying these virtues,
Mhm.
regardless of your circumstances,
Yeah.
was the path to a fulfilling life.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this could be relevant today.
Right.
We live in a world obsessed with external validation
Yeah,
and material possessions.
absolutely.
But how do these virtues, how do they actually translate into handling everyday life?
That's where the Stoic concept of the dichotomy of control comes in.
The economy of control
They
over.
emphasize the importance of recognizing what you can control, like your thoughts, actions, and reactions,
Yeah.
and accepting what you can't control, like other people's opinions
That-
or even unexpected events.
So it's about focusing your energy on what you can actually influence rather than stressing about
Yes.
things outside of your control.
Precisely.
Okay.
Imagine you're stuck in traffic.
Yeah.
Getting angry won't make the cars move any faster.
Right.
Stoicism would suggest accepting the situation
Okay.
and using the time productively.
Yeah.
Maybe listen to a podcast.
Like this one.
Like this one, exactly.
Okay, I like that. But what about when things get really tough, like dealing with a major setback or a loss? Does Stoicism just tell us to, suck it up and pretend we're not feeling anything?
That's a common misconception.
Okay.
Stoicism isn't about suppressing emotions.
Right.
It's about acknowledging those feelings,
Yeah.
but choosing how we respond to them.
Okay.
It's about developing mental resilience,
Mm-hmm.
like a muscle, through practices like voluntary discomfort.
Okay. Voluntary discomfort. That sounds a bit like my Monday mornings, but
Yeah,
seriously, what does that involve?
it could be something as simple as taking cold showers.
Oh,
It's intentionally exposing yourself to discomfort to build your mental toughness.
yeah.
Think of it as training for life's inevitable challenges.
So by getting comfortable with being uncomfortable,
Right.
you're better equipped to handle whatever life throws your way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this ties into a key Stoic insight.
Yeah.
We suffer more in our imaginations than in reality.
I can see that, yeah.
Yeah.
I know I've definitely spiraled down anxiety rabbit holes
Yeah,
that turned out to be way worse in my head
absolutely.
than in real life.
The Stoics were onto something with that observation.
Yeah.
They also believed in preparing for challenges
Okay.
by mentally rehearsing them,
Huh.
a practice they called negative visualization.
Wait, so intentionally thinking about bad things happening?
Yeah.
That sounds so counterintuitive.
It might seem strange,
Yeah.
but the logic is this. By considering the worst-case scenario,
Okay.
you reduce the fear of the unknown,
Mm-hmm.
and you prepare yourself to handle it
Oh.
if it actually occurs.
So it's a bit like that saying, hope for the best, prepare for the worst.
You got it.
Okay.
This approach helps you develop a sense of calm and control,
Yeah.
even when things feel chaotic.
This is all starting to click.
Good.
But we haven't touched on one of the big ideas in Stoicism.
Right.
Like living in harmony with nature.
Mm-hmm.
What do they mean by that?
The Stoics believed in something called logos like rational order of the universe.
Okay.
And they felt we should align ourselves with this natural order, which includes accepting things we can't change.
Even the tough stuff?
Even the tough stuff.
Okay.
The idea is that fighting reality only causes more suffering.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And this leads us to another potentially unsettling Stoic concept, memento mori, which means remember you must die.
Okay, now that does sound a bit morbid.
Yeah.
Are you suggesting we all walk around dwelling on
Not at all.
our inevitable demise?
The point isn't to be gloomy.
Okay.
But rather to use the awareness of our mortality as a motivator to live fully now.
Right.
Like, if you knew you had limited time, what would you prioritize?
Mm-hmm.
What really matters?
Wow, that's a powerful question.
Yeah.
Really puts things in perspective.
Right.
So Stoicism is less about being like a stiff upper lip and more about finding a way to live a meaningful life, despite knowing that there will be good times and bad times.
You're getting the hang of this.
Okay.
And to understand Stoicism even better, it's helpful to meet some of the key figures who shaped this philosophy.
All right, let's meet these Stoic masterminds.
Okay.
Besides Zeno, who else should we know about?
There's Epictetus,
Okay.
who is actually a former slave-turned-philosopher.
A slave-turned-philosopher, wow.
His teachings focus heavily on what's within our control, our thoughts and actions, and letting go of what's not.
It sounds like he truly embodied the Stoic ideals of like resilience and inner strength.
Yeah.
Coming from, that background. That's incredible.
And then there's Seneca.
Okay.
A Roman statesman.
All right.
And advisor to Emperor Nero.
Whoa, talk about a high-pressure job.
Talk about a high-pressure job.
Yeah.
He wrote extensively about practical ethics.
Okay.
And how to stay calm amidst the chaos of Roman politics.
So he was putting Stoicism into practice in the real world.
Yeah.
Dealing with the challenges of power and leadership. High stakes.
High stakes.
Yeah.
And, of course, we can't forget Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, who also happened to be a brilliant philosopher.
A philosopher king?
Yes.
Wow.
His personal journal, Meditations, is considered one of the most important works of Stoic philosophy.
So he was applying these Stoic principles while running an entire empire.
Exactly.
Wow. I'm starting to see why Stoicism is like having a resurgence today.
Yeah.
It's like a toolkit for navigating any challenge, from everyday stresses to leading a nation.
Exactly. And the beauty is that it's not just about surviving, it's about thriving.
All right. I'm officially hooked. Yeah. But before we jump into the nitty-gritty of how to actually apply Stoicism in our modern world, let's take a quick break.
Okay.
We'll be back in a flash to explore the practical side of this powerful philosophy.
Awesome.
See you in a sec.
All right.
Welcome back. I don't know about you, but I'm already feeling a bit more stoic just from that last conversation. But now comes the practical part. How can we actually use these ancient ideas in the 21st century?
Well, let's take something we all struggle with, social media.
Yeah.
It's a breeding ground for comparison, FOMO, and feeling inadequate.
Ugh, don't I know it? It's like a highlight reel of everyone else's perfect life, constantly reminding you of what you don't have.
Yeah.
So what's the Stoic approach to surviving that digital madness?
Remember that dichotomy of control we talked about?
Yeah.
We can't control what others post, the algorithms that decide what we see,
right,
or even our own knee-jerk emotional reactions. But what can we control?
Our own use of social media.
Exactly. You can choose who you follow, what content you consume, and how much time you spend scrolling.
Right, yeah.
The Stoics would probably suggest a digital detox now and then. But even without going cold turkey, we can use their principles to manage our relationship with social media.
Okay, so how would a Stoic scroll through their feed?
With a healthy dose of detachment and a focus on what truly matters.
Okay.
Instead of getting caught up in the comparison game, they might use it to connect with loved ones, learn something new, or share something positive.
That makes sense. It's about being intentional with our time and energy.
Yes.
Even online.
Precisely. Another modern challenge Stoicism can help with is dealing with workplace stress.
Oh, tell me about it.
Deadlines, demanding bosses, office politics, it can be a breeding ground for anxiety.
I think I've tried every stress reduction app out there.
Right.
Nothing seems to really work.
Stoicism might offer a different approach.
Okay.
Remember, the Stoics believed that virtue is the only true good. So in the workplace, that might translate to focusing on doing your best work, acting with integrity, and treating others fairly.
Okay, but isn't that a bit idealistic? I mean, the real world isn't always fair.
I hear you.
And sometimes you have to, like, play the game to get ahead.
Yeah, but the Stoic perspective isn't about naivety. It's about controlling what you can control. You can't control your boss's mood or whether your colleagues will backstab you.
Right.
But you can control your own actions and reactions.
So it's about focusing on your own integrity and work ethic, regardless of the office drama swirling around you.
Exactly. And when it comes to those inevitable workplace setbacks, like mispromotions, critical feedback, that project that went up in flames.
In there.
Stoicism can help there, too.
Okay. How so?
Yeah, right.
Because I'm all for less stress at work.
Remember the practice of negative visualization.
Yeah.
In this context, you might imagine the worst-case scenario. Getting fired, for example.
Okay.
By mentally preparing for this possibility.
Yeah.
You reduce its power to cause anxiety.
Right.
And you might even start taking steps.
Okay. To make yourself more valuable.
Yeah.
Like learning new skills or networking.
That's a really interesting way to reframe those anxieties. So instead of letting fear, like, paralyze you, you use it as fuel to take action.
Right.
And maybe even improve your situation.
Precisely.
Yeah.
The Stoics also had a lot to say about enduring hardship.
Yeah.
They believed that suffering is an inevitable part of life.
Okay.
But our reaction to it is what truly matters.
So it's not about denying or suppressing our emotions, but about choosing how we respond.
Exactly. Let's say you experience a personal setback, like a relationship ending or a health challenge. Stoicism doesn't tell you to just grin and bear it.
Okay.
It encourages you to acknowledge the pain, allow yourself to feel it, but also to focus on what you can control.
Right.
How you care for yourself, how you seek support,
Yeah.
and how you ultimately move forward.
It's about finding that inner strength to navigate difficult times.
And emerge from the experience stronger and wiser.
You got it. The Stoics believed that challenges are actually opportunities for growth.
Okay.
They called this turning obstacles upside down.
I love that imagery. It's like taking a difficult situation and flipping it to see if there's a hidden opportunity or lesson.
Right.
Yeah.
And sometimes the lesson is simply about accepting what we can't change.
Okay.
The Stoics believed that true happiness comes from aligning ourselves with nature, with the logos, even when it throws us curveballs.
So it's about accepting those things we can't change.
Yeah.
And focusing our energy on what we can.
Precisely. And this acceptance extends even to the ultimate reality we all face, death.
Okay, back to the memento mori thing again.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I'm still wrapping my head around that one.
It's not about being morbid or dwelling on death. It's about using the awareness of our mortality as a powerful motivator to live fully now.
So if we knew we had limited time, we'd be more likely to pursue our passions, mend broken relationships, appreciate the simple joys of life.
Exactly. It's about not taking things for granted.
Right.
Prioritizing what truly matters.
Yeah.
And making each day count.
I'm starting to see how this seemingly grim concept can actually be incredibly life-affirming.
That's the beauty of Stoicism.
Yeah.
It challenges us to reframe our perspective, to find strength in adversity, and to live with intention and purpose.
This is all so incredibly helpful.
Go ahead.
But I think we've thrown a lot of information at our listeners today.
Right.
Before we wrap up, are there any other key takeaways?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd like to leave them with.
Remember that Stoicism isn't about achieving perfection. It's about making small, incremental changes in how you think and respond to the world around you. Start by picking one Stoic principle that resonates with you and try incorporating it into your daily life.
That's great advice. Maybe start with a digital detox, practice negative visualization, or reflect on what you do differently.
Right.
If you knew you had limited time.
Exactly. And remember, there's a wealth of resources out there to help you further explore Stoicism.
We'll be sure to share some of those resources in our final segment. But for now, let's take a quick break to let all of this Stoic wisdom sink in.
Okay.
We'll be right back to wrap things up.
Sounds good.
And leave you with a final thought-provoking question to ponder.
Welcome back to our Stoicism deep dive. I feel like, we've been on quite a journey exploring these ancient ideas, and I'm really starting to see how relevant they are to our modern lives.
It's amazing how Stoicism, like a philosophy that's over 2,000 years old, can still provide us with practical tools for dealing with the challenges we face today.
Yeah, it's like a timeless toolkit for navigating stress, finding inner peace.
Absolutely.
And living a more meaningful life. Yeah.
But for our listeners who are, eager to dive deeper into Stoicism, where would you recommend they start?
Well, there's no better place to begin than with the writings of the Stoic masters themselves.
Okay.
Marcus Aurelius's Meditations is a personal journal.
Yeah.
Filled with reflections on living a virtuous life.
That sounds like a fascinating read.
It really is. And for those interested in Epictetus, his works, Discourses and Enchiridion, are excellent resources.
Yeah.
He focuses heavily on the power of our own thoughts and actions, reminding us that we can always choose how we respond to external events.
So even when things feel out of control, we still have the power to choose our reaction.
Absolutely.
That's powerful.
And then there's Seneca, whose letters and essays offer practical advice on navigating difficult situations and finding contentment.
So going straight to the source, like the original Stoic text, that's a great place to start.
A great place to start.
But are there any, more modern resources that you'd recommend?
Absolutely. For a contemporary take on Stoicism, William B. Irvine's Guide to the Good Life is an excellent introduction to Stoic principles and how to apply them in everyday life.
And for our podcast-loving listeners, is there anything out there that explores Stoicism in an audio format?
There's a fantastic podcast called The Daily Stoic that offers daily insights and reflections on Stoic wisdom.
I love that idea, getting like a daily dose of Stoicism. It's a reminder that this isn't about becoming like some sort of perfect sage overnight.
No, not at all.
It's about making small, consistent efforts to align our thoughts and actions with Stoic principles.
Exactly. It's a lifelong journey of learning, practicing, and refining these principles. And remember, Stoicism is ultimately about living a good life.
Yeah.
A life filled with virtue, meaning, and purpose.
Well said. And, as we wrap up our Stoicism deep dive, I want to circle back to one of the most thought-provoking concepts we've discussed. Memento mori.
Yes.
Remember, it means remember you must die.
A very powerful phrase.
Powerful and maybe a little...
Yeah, it can be a little intimidating.
Yeah, intimidating at first. Yeah. But the Stoics viewed this awareness of our mortality as a powerful call to action.
Absolutely.
It's a reminder to make the most of our time.
Yeah.
To prioritize what truly matters. And to live a life that we can look back on with no regrets.
Exactly.
So as we leave you today, we want to offer one final question for you to ponder.
Okay.
If you knew you had a limited time left, what would you do differently? What would you prioritize?
Yeah.
What dreams would you finally pursue?
Right.
What relationships would you cherish more deeply?
Those are great questions.
Yeah, it challenges us to really examine our lives.
Absolutely.
And make sure we're living in alignment with our values and aspirations.
It's a call to action, an invitation to seize the day and live each moment with intention and purpose.
Well, folks, that wraps up our deep dive into Stoicism.
Hope you enjoyed it.
We hope you've enjoyed exploring this ancient yet incredibly relevant philosophy with us.
And remember, the tools for a more fulfilling and meaningful life are within your grasp.
Absolutely.
Start small, be patient with yourself,
and
embrace the journey.
Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.
It was a pleasure.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning,
Yeah.
and keep living a life that matters.